It's Wednesday the 23rd of May, here are the headlines. Landslide conference hits the road to see our disappearing coastline. More tickets available for sold-out music festival, but only to islanders. Gold at the Games, youth athlete scoops medal in Corsica, and opinions wanted on the future of an up-and-coming seaside sport in Ryde. Good evening and welcome to Solent Tonight. A part of the Isle of Wight's coastline is losing 6 metres of land every year to the sea. That's 5 times more than the national average. The island has now been highlighted internationally as an example of how climate change is causing erosion on the world's coastlines. Today, as part of a wider conference, nearly 200 experts visited cliffs near Steep Hill Down in Ventnor to witness firsthand the impact of global warming. With tonight's top story, here's Michael Coombs.
It is very warm, isn't it?
At their home in Knighton, Peter and Cynthia McCarthy know all too well about global warming. 3 years ago, a huge chunk of their garden fell into the sea. 3 years later, and the pair now receive fortnightly visits from experts monitoring the movement of land here. This tree has moved 18 metres alone in the last couple of years. Peter says it's a problem that's getting worse.
It's not completely stable at the moment. If we have a lot of rain, I can see that we may have more problems later.
And I can also see some subsidence just there as well. How's that been?
Again, there's 1 or 2 places, or 4 I think in all, where the underground springs appear along there, and this year we did see them for the first time for a couple of years, and again they were the ones that were causing all the grief.
But the problem is not just here in Knighton. Just a couple of days ago, Bembridge witnessed its biggest landslide in over a decade. 700 tonnes of chalk cliff simply disappeared into the sea. At today's international conference of leading world scientists, there was a warning that more events like these will become increasingly common.
That kind of incident, we could certainly expect speeding up of coastal erosion, and we've been looking through our research at how the coastline might evolve over the next 100 years, and because we have a soft rock geology, we think that there will be significant changes and increases in rates of erosion along the south coast. Bigger storm waves and rising sea levels are likely to steepen beaches. This will cause more erosion at the toe of cliffs and also cause undermining of seawalls and coastal defences.
And abroad, other countries are also experiencing similar problems. Mario Smargasso is an expert on climate change in Italy. He also believes global warming is getting worse.
Of course, we have major landslides. We have square kilometers of landslides, especially on the Alps and in the Apennines, and they're very worrying because what they could involve when happening is terrific. It's very important.
Since 1990, there have been about 20 properties have been demolished in this area.
Closer to home, the Isle of Wight Council has now installed equipment inside the cliffs to monitor any movement. The most dramatic slips will set off alarms, warning people of what has happened. But it's not just the cliffs that are affected. And believe it or not, the cracks you can see in that wall run across the entire stretch here, showing that global warming doesn't just affect our coastline, but also our buildings. And it doesn't stop there. The crack is in fact running right underneath this road. It's already started to affect a wall on the other side. This week's international conference will continue tomorrow. Experts will then produce a report on how to tackle further landslides and climate change in the future. Michael Coombs for Solent Tonight in Ventnor.
The promoter of the Isle of Wight Music Festival has decided to release extra tickets for island residents only to buy. John Giddings from Solo is putting just over 1,000 extra tickets on sale at 9 o'clock in the morning on Sunday the 3rd of June. Half will be available at HMV in Newport High Street and half at Liberties on Union Street in Ryde. There could be a repeat of scenes like these from February 2005 when early bird festival tickets went on sale at HMV in Newport. Islanders queuing along the high street to snap up their passport to one of the highlights of the summer schedule here. Now, this year's festival at Seaclose Park in Newport between the 8th and 10th of June will feature headline performances from the Rolling Stones, Muse, Snow Patrol and The Feeling. Tickets had originally sold out in their fastest ever time since the event's rebirth in 2002, just a few days back in February.
Well, we're on a limited capacity. We're licensed for 60,000 people to include staff. So what we've worked out is that we haven't got as many staff as we thought we had, so we're going to sell the balance of the tickets to local residents. There are a lot of islanders whose noses are out of joint by the fact they didn't get it together to buy a ticket quickly enough. So we thought we'd be nice because we like the island.
Meanwhile, in a separate announcement this afternoon, Isle of Wight Council says people living in Fairley Road in Newport who received complimentary tickets last year will have free entry to the festival again, following an agreement reached between the local authority and festival promoters Solo. The council says the agreement will mean the same households who were issued with complimentary tickets last year by Solo will get free tickets again in a one-off deal for this year's event. In subsequent years, all residents living along the road will be guaranteed the chance to buy tickets. The local authority says those households that qualify for the complimentary tickets will receive a letter from the council next week with more details about how they can collect their tickets. Now, a distinctive motorbike, one of only two on the Isle of Wight, has been stolen from Freshwater. The year 2000 Yamaha 6 went missing from Dolphin Court in Silcombe Lane on either the 20th or 21st of May. Worth around £3,000, it's silver, black and orange. Its registration is T618VFL. If you have any information, contact Police Sergeant Penny Deacon on 0845 045 4545 or call Crime Stoppers anonymously on 0800 555 111. Island Carnival organisers could soon have a new home after plans to create new premises at the Westridge Centre near Ryde were given the go-ahead by planning councillors. Proposals to move the creative hub of Ryde's Carnival organisers were given conditional permission by Isle of Wight Council's Planning Committee on Monday. Under the scheme, staff, carnival organisers and sequined costumes will move from Union Road to the site of a former restaurant and nightclub at the Westridge Centre. It's outside the Unitary Development Plan, or UDP, which regulates island planning decisions, but the site is allocated for tourist development, and officers are keen for the scheme to breathe new life into a disused space. Monday's decision by Isle of Wight Council's Planning Committee must now be considered by the Government Office for the South East, which has the final say over schemes outside the UDP. Now, people living in Newchurch's 1,100 households are making themselves heard over the future of the parish. 2,000 locals are being consulted over the way the village and its surrounding area will develop over the next 20 years. Organisers, Newchurch Parish Council, have already received 450 replies, representing 41% of local people. Further consultation is to be carried out on June the 16th with an exhibition and information made available at Newchurch Primary School. Adult Learners Week continued today with a celebration of some of the opportunities available to islanders. The charity Solent Enterprises, which works with adults with learning difficulties by organising employment and training, hosted an exhibition in Newchurch. Two groups of adult learners linked to Solent have been nominated for an award. The event saw displays including from Freshwater's Dimbola Lodge Museum and the Green Gym Initiative. The event at Sunnycrest Nursery was also a chance for the group's service users to show off the work they've been doing on a wildlife project. That's it for part one of the programme, but do stay with us for more island news coming up in part two.
Hi, I'm Brogan Percy from the Isle of Wight and find out what I'll be doing at the World Island Youth Games after the break.